I'm breaking out, I'm breaking in. I just can't help this state I'm in. I'm on my way, y'all. So put your shades on, this light's so bright, it's blinding. I'm radiating love, I'm radiating love, I'm radiating love. Breaking free, I'm breaking ground. I can't explain this thing I found. The clouds have moved on. I got my groove on. This pep in my steps infectious. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I've been stuck in a rut. I've been shit out of luck. I've been wondering what is up with me. And then I realized it's up to me to decide. I can just be radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love. I'm radiating love.
Where am I? There I am. Hello, good morning. You, that's right, you. All of you are an irresistible magnet with the power to attract unto yourself anything you desire. That's right, each and every one of you right here, right now can do that. You can do that. You can decide something new in your life, a new experience, a new relationship, a new way of thinking. All of that can come to you right here, right now. We're going to help you with some tools. We're going to help you with some encouragement. We're going to assist you with the philosophies and teachings of the science of mind and neuroscience and ancient wisdom, anything and everything to help you achieve the power that is already there within you. Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. Jay Willick. I am the senior minister here at the New Thought Spiritual Center, and we're so glad that you have come and joined us here on our Sunday celebration, our Sunday symposium, our Sunday workshop, whatever it is that we are doing here. We're having fun and we're learning things and we're doing this. So let's talk about this. I want to show you our statement of principles to show you what we're all about here. Watch this. Right around here, life is an explosion of goodness. That's what we've decided it's going to be. And so that is what we attract into our lives, an explosion of goodness, of greatness, of positivity, of affluence and influence. if that's what you have decided you want in your life, to be an influential person, to be of service. What is it? You get to decide what that is. Also, every month we highlight one of our statement of principles. And this month we're highlighting our purpose statement, which, as you can see, is reveal the divinity in you. We're going to talk a lot about that this month. And today especially, because our theme for July is declarations. We're making declarations this month, declarations of what we have decided is going to be in our lives, what we're going to attract in our lives. And we start with the foundation of revealing the divinity that's already there, that divine love, that divine intelligence. Call it what you will. Some people will say God. Some people will say Phil. It doesn't matter what you say. What matters is that you allow this wisdom, this love, this light to shine through you, to be illuminated through everything you think, feel, say, and do. And we're going to give you some tools to help you with that. We're going to give you some ideas to assist you in changing your perspective, because when you change your perspective, you change your life. Let's take a moment and step into an affirmative prayer. An affirmative prayer, we call it a spiritual mind treatment. We call it that because we are treating our mind, not just our brain, but our whole mind, our consciousness, our whole entire being, to maybe a new perspective on life, a new idea. So a lot of people call it affirmative prayer because it sounds like a prayer, but this prayer, we are declaring what we have decided to have in our lives. So take a deep breath with me, very slowly through your nose, and hold it with me for 3, 2, 1, and then let it out through your mouth. Make a sound if you must. We want to be active. We want to do a whole body experience here. Another deep breath with me. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Let it out. One more time. And as we inhale, we know God is, the divine is, whatever you want to call it, is that power, that presence, that energy. And as we exhale, we know I am. Each and every one of us, we are that power revealing itself exclusively as you, exclusively as me, as all of us, in our way, in our personalized way, in our individual way. So let us know together. Close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. You don't have to. You can keep them at a soft focus if you like. And know this. There is this one mind, this one power that reveals itself through each and every one of us. We individualize that power, that presence, that energy, that love, that wisdom. And with that knowledge, with that knowing, I declare right here and now and forevermore that we allow this wisdom, this love, this light, this intelligence to reveal itself in our lives. In everything we think, in everything we feel, in everything we do. When we take action through the intelligence of the universe. When we think, when we talk to ourselves, we do that with the wisdom of knowing who we are as we reveal that divinity. And when we allow our feelings and use our feelings to take action, we are motivated, we are inspired, and then motivated to take that action, to take that best action, that optimized action, to bring forth into our lives that which we have decided today we require. Whatever it is, you decide. Is it a money situation? Is it something with your body temple? Is it ideas of peace, of calm, of increasing your spiritual practice? Whatever that idea is, we are declaring it right here, right now, together. All of us together, using our power, our divine power, to bring forth whatever needs to be brought forth, to inspire and motivate the thought, the feeling, and the action to bring forth that experience that each and every one of us has described right here and right now into our experience. It is done. It is done. We have said the word. It is done. Everything is in action right here, right now. We take the action we can take, and the universe and the law takes the action it takes. And it all comes together and brings that beautiful experience of a better relationship, a better job, increased finances in your favor. Whatever it is, peace of mind, peace of heart, it brings forth that here and now. It is done. And the law says yes, and the universe has your back. And we recognize that and appreciate it. And in gratitude, release this word as together we say, and so it is. Or whatever you like to say at the end of a affirmative prayer or spiritual mind treatment. Most people say, and so it is. Or you could say abracadabra, because abracadabra kind of means boom, and so it is. And so it is there. And so it is in action right here, right now. Whew. That felt good. I need a little drink now. So we have a guest today. We are so fortunate. I'm so fortunate that I have these friends that I can ask to come join us on a Sunday to bring their wisdom and their knowledge and their energy to commune with ours. So our sacred reader this morning is the Reverend Dr. Ellen Contente, all the way from North Carolina. There she is. Hello, dear one. And she's going to talk to you about wonderful things in life and maybe offer a prayer or two on our affirmative incantation for this week. The Reverend Dr. Ellen will bring to you. So I leave you all with the fabulous Dr. Ellen.
Thank you, Dr. J. It's so nice. It's so nice to be with everybody here. Don't you just love my beautiful home? Yes, but a home where my hands disappear. So I am in North Carolina today. I moved here back in September, as some of you may know, and a new spiritual home here, but connected always and forever to everyone. Doesn't matter where we physically are, we are always connected. And I love what Jay's principles, right? The explosion of goodness. I wrote that down. I was like, that is so amazing. Explosion of goodness. And, I know that it's your declarations month. So, July, June, August, I think every month is a good month to declare what it is that you want. Who it is that you want to be. What is it that you want to do in the world? What is it that you want to do, in your life? So I have so many different things that I was thinking about reading. I'm in the middle of rereading one of my absolute favorite books called Your Heart's Desire. And it's very much in alignment with what I think Jay's going to be talking about today. And, when you choose something that you want to focus on, right? Instead of choosing from a place of fear, like, oh, I hope that I get this, or I hope this works out. It's about choosing with enthusiasm. I'm just kind of pulling some pieces here. Choosing from enthusiasm, because when we do it from enthusiasm, we are inviting divine support, because the root of the word enthusiasm is of the gods. And I thought, well, how perfect is that for today? Of the gods. So if we want to achieve greatness in our lives, and whatever that happens to be, whether it's a new physical goal, a spiritual goal, a intellectual goal, if we want the support of the gods, we need to believe and have faith with enthusiasm. And we know in this teaching, it's all about the power of the mind, the power of our thoughts. And so one of the tools that I use every single day is my affirmative calendar. So as a matter of fact, this was actually from Friday. It says, when I let my thoughts come from the loving place of my own heart, I easily and effortlessly create whatever I desire. And, it has to come from your heart, right? That's the place of the gods, not from the ego, which is really interesting. I mean, we start with the mind, with what is it that I desire, but then we have to drop into our heart and desire that from a place of love. And that's where the explosion of goodness or the explosion of godness is going to come from, when we open our hearts to the truth of who we are, which is divine beings, and we are limitless, and we can create whatever we put our minds to. And so one of the things that I've actually been focusing on over the last few months was my spiritual practice. I really wanted to get back to meditating every morning. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Calm app, but that's one of my favorite tools that I use is listening to the Daily Calm. And then I listen to the Daily J, which is all about some wisdom. And then I also incorporated the Daily Move, so I can do a little bit of movement. And this morning's daily move was all about breathing in love for yourself, and then breathing out love for others. And that really resonated with me, because it's like finding that balance between, living my life, focusing on my dreams and doing the things that are important to me, but also being of service and helping other people live their lives and be supportive of what other people want and love others as you would love yourself. So this explosion of goodness, I'm going to keep coming back to that because I think that's it's so amazing to think about. When we live our lives with enthusiasm, that's what we are radiating. And there is this explosion of goodness that comes from loving yourself and being of service. And so in my morning daily practice of doing my morning meditations, so getting clear about, who I am, what is mine to do in the world, letting go of those negative habits, letting go of those things that gets in the way of manifesting your dreams. Things like turning the news on in the morning, which happened to be one of the worst habits I had, was listening to 2 hours of morning news shows. And I recognize that when I focus, and start my day with more of a spiritual practice, then I see the good in the world. I'm no longer focused on all the negativity, all the things that are going on out in the world that are not about love, that are stopping us from living our highest and our best. Planting the seed of fear, planting the seed of negativity, we can absolutely let that go and plant the seed of love and truth and believe that that is our divine birthright. And so having different practices in your life to create the life that you want is so important. So that morning meditation, the your affirmation calendar. And I know you can't see my desk, but I have a gazillion different sticky notes all over to focus on what I want. And one of the things that I wrote down was focus on what you want, not what you fear, because our mind wants to take us, to the things that we're afraid of, the things that we fear might not happen. But when we let our thoughts, come from a loving place of our own heart, we can easily and effortlessly create whatever it is we desire. And so having spirit at your back, trusting, having faith, having those practices in place, that is so important. And when you are steeped in that truth, anything, and I'm a firm believer, anything that you desire is possible. So with that, let's take a look at what our incantation is for today. So everyone, I'm going to just say this. You can see it as well online. If you want, you can close your eyes because I'm going to move into a treatment right after I read our incantation, our affirmative incantation for the week of July 10th, which is today. I respond to all experiences with calm, wise self-counsel. I am fierce in every exploration and reveal my best self no matter the circumstances. I am drawn to the light of wisdom and truth, and I envision with clarity, color, feeling, and passion. Today is the day I counsel myself to respond with dignity, grace, intellect, and power. And so let's know that truth. Let's know that we absolutely respond and counsel ourselves with that divine intellect, power, and grace, because we are one with God, with spirit, with universe. As Jay would say, whatever you want to call it, it is still that divine energy. And that when we come from a place of love, when we declare who we are in the world and we serve the world with our gifts, it is returned to us in loving ways, and we step into our greatness, explode in goodness, and radiate that love across the internet, across state lines and country lines, out into the universe, into the farthest reaches of our galaxy. And so I am just grateful to be reminded of the truth of who we are, to be reminded of the love that is within each and every one of us, and know that whatever it is that we declare, whoever we want to be and do in the world, it is done. It is done right now. And so I release my word with love and gratitude. And together we say, and so it is, abracadabra.
Yay, abracadabra. That's right. Hallelujah. Bring her back.
Bring me back.
Bring her back. Before I let you go, I want you to explain a little bit to everyone what you do for a living, other than being a minister. But
other than being a minister, I have a company, a training and consulting business called Heart-Centered Programs. So I am always coming from the heart. I would like to believe that I'm always coming from my heart. Sometimes I do have to drop into that. But yeah, I mean, we are tested. We are absolutely tested every day when you turn the news on, to remember that that's only one view, and that is
for sure.
Right. So so dropping into your heart, seeing the goodness in the world. But I work with people globally in helping them manage stress and overwhelm, eliminate burnout. So a lot of professional development and wellness programs and one-on-one coaching. So I work with people over Zoom. I do workshops, I do trainings. I'm for hire. So if you want to fly me somewhere,
there you go. Contact us. We'll get you in touch with Dr. Ellen. So these are companies that hire you as well as individuals?
Yeah. So I'm hired by individual corporations. I'm also hired by what's called an employee assistance provider. And I do their trainings, and then individuals hire me as their accountability coach, and I work with a handful of people.
Oh, okay.
And then I also have my own online courses, so anybody can sign up and take an online course that I've developed.
Right. So how do you, I don't want to accuse you of anything or anything, but it sounds like there's a little sneaking of spirituality in some of this personal development to help people work better for their corporations that they work at. How does that get snuck in there?
Well, it's all spiritual.
Yeah.
So it's all spiritual.
Yeah.
And when you share with someone that they are responsible for their life and that they can change their circumstances and their situations, by changing their thoughts. And when they recognize that it's not the deadline, it's not the traffic, it's not the boss, it's not their relationship that is creating stress or overwhelm, it's how am I thinking about all of these circumstances and situations, and how am I being with myself as I go through those? What are the stories that I'm telling myself about those things?
Yeah.
And when you present it in that way, I mean, you're never using the words spiritual or religious science or science of mind or whatever it is. It's just recognizing that people absolutely have control over their lives if they're willing to do things differently, if they're willing to see it differently and they're willing to do it differently.
Great. Oh, that's so great. That's so perfect. That everything you said is totally leading to what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So virtual applause for Dr. Ellen. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Jay.
So great. We're going to step into some music in a second, but I wanted you to remember that everything we teach, comes through spirituality. I and Ellen we're trained through a religious organization, but what we are teaching, you may call it the science of mind, which is based on this book, and I've showed you that book. I'll show it again actually this month because we have 5 weeks in this month, and I always read directly from the book. Every month we have a fifth week, but this is like I say in the long version of one of our statement of principles. This is about neuroscience. I'm going to be talking neuroscience stuff today. This is not just ancient wisdom or new thought wisdom. This is wisdom of science. It's the science of the mind. Not as a religion, not even just as a spiritual practice, but as a way of thinking, being, and living. I have a great song for you today. I found this, like I usually do, on YouTube. Gentleman named Luis Ramos and Samantha Helmstetter are singing this great tune from Stephen Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George. The song is Move On. Listen closely. Be right back.
Are you working on something new?
No, I'm not working on anything right now.
That is not like you, George.
I've nothing to say.
You have many things.
Well, nothing that's not been said.
By you, though,
I do not know
George.
where to go.
Nor did I.
I want to make things that count, things that will be new.
I did what I had to do.
What am I to do?
Move on. Stop worrying where you're going. Move on. If you can know where you're going, you've gone. Just keep moving on. I'd chosen, my world was shaken, so what? The choice may have been mistaken, the choosing was not. You have to move on. Look at what you want, not at where you are, not at what you'll be. Look at all the things you've done for me. Opened up my eyes, taught me how to see. Notice every tree.
Notice every tree.
Understand the
light.
Concentrate
I want to move on. I want to explore the light. I want to know how to get through to something new, something of my own. Move on.
what you've done.
Something in the light,
What
something
you
in the
want,
sky,
not where
in the
you
grass,
are,
behind the
Look at all
trees.
the things you gave
Things I
to
hadn't
me.
looked at till now.
Let me give
Flower
to
on your
you
hat
something
and
in
your
return.
smile
I
and
would
the
be so
color of your
pleased.
hair and the way you catch the light and the care and the feeling and the life moving
Always belong together.
we will always belong together.
Just keep moving on. Anything you do, let it come from you, and it will be new. Give us more to see.
Such a beautiful piece. Need to listen to that song every once in a while to remind myself to move on, to move through, to move past this, that, or the other. Move on from Sunday in the Park with George by Stephen Sondheim. I like to start with a story this morning. Once upon a time, a daughter complained to her father that her life was miserable and that she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time, and it just seemed as one problem was solved, then another soon followed. Now her father, a chef, said, "Come with me," and took her to the kitchen. He then filled 3 pots with water and placed each of them on a high fire. And once the 3 pots began to boil, he placed potatoes in one pot, eggs in the second pot, and ground coffee beans in the third pot. And he let them sit and boil without saying a word to his daughter. And the daughter was very impatient, was kind of moaning and humping and wondering what the heck was going on. What was he doing? Geez, Dad. And after about 20 minutes, he turned off the burners and he took the potatoes out of the pot and placed them in a bowl. He pulled the boiled eggs out and placed them in a bowl. And then he ladled the coffee out and placed it in a cup. And he turned to her and he asked, "What do you see?" And she hastily replied, "Potatoes, eggs, coffee." "Look closer," he said. "Touch the potatoes." And she did. And she noted that they were soft. And then he asked her to take an egg out of the bowl and crack it. And of course, after it was cracked, she was able to start pulling off the shell. And after that was done, she observed there was a hard-boiled egg, right? And finally, he asked her to sip the coffee. And she did, and its rich aroma brought a smile to her face. Then she looked up and she said, "Father, what does this mean?" And he explained this. The potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans had each faced the same adversity, the boiling water. However, each one reacted differently. The potato, it went in strong and hard and unrelenting, but in boiling water, it became soft and weak. The egg was fragile, with this thin outer shell protecting its liquid interior until it was put in the boiling water. Then the inside of the egg became hard. However, the ground coffee beans were the most unique. After they were exposed to the boiling water, they actually changed the water and created something new. And he looked at his daughter and he asked her this: which are you? When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a potato, an egg, or a coffee bean? Each and every one of us has a threshold for what they can handle from the conditions and the opinions and the judgments that are happening and they're hearing and being affected by all around them. And it's based on our perception of who we think we are and how we relate to the universe. When my map of where and how things should be in reality is messed with, and not just physically, this could be something you hear, like I said, an opinion you are buying into or a judgment that upsets you. Well, you could become stressed then, right? Sometimes overwhelmed, right? And that stress may cause you to react and cope in various ways that you or I have learned growing up. Maybe you go on exercise, or maybe you go off and pray, do your power stance, be creative, talk with friends as a way to cope with that stress that has shown up. Or maybe sometimes, depending on the stressor, you get angry, you get anxious, you overeat, or some other self-abusive practice pops up as your coping mechanism. We have to remember that it is our minds that give permission to do the deed, positive or negative, to do the coping mechanism, positive or negative. And it is only our minds that can rescind the decision or belay that order, as a Navy reference. We have the ability to increase the threshold of any of the stressors that may come in our vicinity, and invite the healthy practices that increase that threshold. We all have a threshold. Even the Dalai Lama has a threshold. But it's time for us to get a clue to what our unconscious internal mental and emotional processes are doing, what we're thinking, the self-talking that is happening, the belief system that we are using and acting from, so that we can create an automatic response using our conscious mind versus the unconscious mind to reveal that divine intelligence and love that is within right now, versus using the junk ideas and the old stories and the other BS of limited or less than thinking that are influences from our past that somehow have gotten into our belief system, gotten into our perspective of how life can be. Now, we're talking about these 9 principles over the next few weeks. And last week we talked about the first principle, and we discussed the art, I guess, of letting whatever happens be okay. And it's not that we don't do anything about it. And I want to remind you of that. We don't just turn away and ignore it and, it didn't happen. But it goes back to the idea of what you think of me is none of my business. Or the second of the 4 agreements, to not take anything personally. When you're not attached to the people, situations, and things being other than they are, hoping that they'll be this, that, or the other, and the key word there is hoping. Hoping and wishing doesn't do much for you. But when you're not attached to the opinions and judgments of other people, your happiness and inner peace are independent of the circumstances going around or conditions that are around you. They don't matter. They may affect you for a second or two so that you can consciously go, well, what you think of me is none of my business. Or I'm not taking this personally. I'll do whatever needs to be done in the moment to answer that idea, but I'm going to respond, not react from old stories, from fear or anxiety or anything like that. When your personal experience, no matter what is happening around you, comes from inside opinions and perspectives rather than being under the control of outside events or my reaction to them, then we can consciously choose to be happy and at ease, even when the world is not acting the way we've decided it should at all times. Now, we all have a threshold. I have a threshold. You have a threshold to how much we can be detached from the actions of others. And most would say that this threshold comes from unresolved childhood trauma and that leftover emotional junk that's buried in the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind, which causes these triggers and these reactions. You could say the shadow self, even, that needs to be healed. That's where this comes from. That's where these reactions come from. I was talking last week about one that happened to me. You can go to all the therapists, personal development seminars, read every self-help book ever written, continue to show up here every Sunday or whichever day or time that you decide to watch our celebration, but without working the tools, without using the tools, without getting up every morning and maybe throughout the day and right before you go to sleep, using the affirmative incantations or other spiritual practices, you won't heal. You got to work the tools. If you don't work the tools, you could just easily flow back onto this wheel, this whirling dervish of dysfunction the next time something shows up and hits your low threshold. The next time your low threshold is pushed. And it will be. It will be. Now, I'm not talking about fault here, okay? Don't step into this when it's my fault. Don't stop the whole blame, shame, guilt thing about your triggers. They're there. They happened. What are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? Now, maybe it's going to start in an intellectual exercise, and that's okay. You got to get it. You got to understand it. But then we got to use the tools. Because see, what happens when we react, when a stressor shows up, overwhelms us maybe to make us react, what happens is there's this deluge of chemical reactions happening in our brain and our body, actually, that flow, these chemical reactions, these hormones start flowing, and it becomes an assault from within. It's a wiring in our brain that causes the excited chemicals to show up, or the too few calming ones, hormones, to show up, and then we react inappropriately. It's like the whole spilled milk thing. Spilled milk on the floor doesn't equal a screaming match. But when our threshold is pressed, our biological thermostat may spill open and we react instead of respond. Now, when that happens, and it's like I said, it's happened to me, of course you want to apologize to somebody that a trigger made you yell at them, et cetera, but you also may want to get into some deep self-forgiveness work. Self-forgiveness for that past. Don't worry so much about forgiving the people that did stuff at you. Forgive yourself is more important than forgiving them. But you also want to understand things. You want to reframe. That's what we're doing. We're reframing what's going on, no matter what's going on. Listen to this great quote. I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career, this person said. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Michael Jordan said that. One of our greatest basketball players of all time. I have lost almost 300 games, he said. Is that possible? He's been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and he missed at least 26 times, at least at the time that he said that. He fails, and he fails, and he fails, and I put fails in quote, but he learns. He reframes that failure into what has made him be one of the, if not the most successful person in his field. Jordan reframed the stressors of defeat. Now, again, I do not want to dismiss the stressors. I want you to remember who you are, and the power behind you is greater than any other, but you have to do the work. I have to do the work too. Don't think I don't have to do the work in some situations. I have to declare the healing process happening now, and I have to do the work that makes the healing process occur. Now, of course, like I was saying before, some say these stresses are learned from childhood, and that some people believe that the rewiring of the brain from these childhood stressors or traumas are permanent. But that's not true. Don't let anybody tell you that those things are permanent. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the plasticity of the brain is one of the greatest discoveries in the last several decades. It allows us to retune the neurochemical systems in our brain. Now, sometimes we may need medication to assist us for a short time or for a not so short time, but they're not the end all. And they're not the be all. They're an assist like any other tool. And we don't really want to take those without a brain scan either. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not giving you medical advice, but I have heard one of the most preeminent psychiatrists, Daniel G. Amen, say so about doctors who prescribe these brain chemistry medications without taking brain scans, with just dealing with symptoms. But anyway, medication therapy of any kind will not help you surpass your threshold without spirituality of some kind. And you can call it what you want. You don't have to call it spirituality. Who cares? Mindfulness activity. Again, another word, a big buzzword, especially in the last decade. But if you don't like that word, mindfulness, make up some other word. Who cares? We're not talking about religion. We're not even talking about God. We're talking about the creative energy of the universe that is working through you, with you, as you, for you. It's this creative energy that created everything. The Big Bang, you believe in the Big Bang? It's the Big Bang energy. That is still happening right here, right now. And you engage that along with any therapies that you might use, any psychological therapies or energy therapies that you may use. I want to remind you, I am not anti-therapy, whether it's talk, behavioral, cognitive, humanistic, somatic, integrative, spiritual, Alderian, what other kind of therapies are there? Art, music, Gestalt, hypnotherapy, Gottman, energetic, whatever. Any of those therapies you want to use to assist you to getting centered and grounded, along with your spiritual practice, have at it. But use the tools. Take the tools and enlighten yourself and expand your awareness of who you are and how you respond to things. The only thing that makes anything we discuss, discover, or inspire here is that we all go beyond the nodding, intellectual acceptance of the principles. Yes, okay, I believe that. I like when you talk about that stuff. It reminds me, and I'm great and grateful that that happens for you, that I can be of service that way. But I must sometimes too, integrate, be these principles at an everyday, deep, and experiential level. We have to expand our conscious awareness and awaken to working it and enjoying that, and enjoying the workingness. Michael Jordan doesn't like missing, especially at an integral time of a game, getting that ball in the hoop. And he says in the quote 26 times in a huge career is really not that bad. But I bet you each of those 26 times there was at least at first a reaction, and then probably very quickly with after that a response. The response is, let me recreate this. Let me mentor myself, or find a mentor that shows me whatever in my hand movements, in what my body is doing to get that sucker into that net. Meditation and prayer, affirmative incantations that I write or that are in my book, and imagination feeling work, all those things can condition you to allow this light, this illumination from the universe shine on the shadows that are within you. Shine a light on them. Oh, there they are. There they are. I see it now. I've turned on the light. I see you, baby. I see you. And I know you don't belong here anymore. Thank you for being here, but you don't belong here anymore. They can awaken the highest within you, these spiritual practice. They can, moment by moment, inch by inch, condition you to have the courage, the strength, the oomph to declare your healing. You got to declare your healing. We have to stand here. We have to take a moment, and we have to declare, I am going to heal whatever it is. The childhood trauma, the belief in your lack or limitation. All these spiritual practices, including your therapies, keep you on a path. And when you remember who you are, that puts a foundation that keeps you on that path. That path is not just mud, but there is ground under it. All of this works together to stimulate change, upgrade, and make you raise your threshold. The spiritual practices, the neuroscience principles, the therapies, the psychological therapies, and the energy therapies make the dysfunctional thoughts dissipate and eventually become ineffective. Ineffective. You're not affected when somebody has some stupid opinion or judgment about you, because you know who you are. You may not like it, but you don't react to it. You respond by remembering who you are. You won't need to cope, because the system can no longer be stressed by that kind of judgment, opinion, condition. You become centered, you become grounded, you become calm. All that prevails. Maybe not at the first second, but at the third, fourth, or fifth second. And because of that, happiness and peacefulness prevail in your consciousness. We are attacking the condition at its root, not the symptom. And we're bypassing the mere treatment of systems. symptoms and systems, but symptoms is what I meant to say. How? How do we do this? By continuing to do your daily spiritual practice or upping it. Sometimes I have to up mine, baby. And by recognizing that you are in this process of awakening to the truth of who you are. It's a process, it's a journey, it's an adventure. And the fact that the uncomfortable emotions that might be surrounding this overwhelm, this chaos, even the reorganization of your brain circuitry when it starts to occur will be diminished and eventually fall away. That all of this work is a prelude to powerful, positive changes and should not be resisted. Don't resist just because it may be painful for a second or two. Mindfulness practices are the glue that makes any sort of therapy that you use work. Any of that therapy work will only work when you add mindfulness practices. Now, I've mentioned a few, and there are many others. And one of them can just be the declaration of this is going to work. This is going to help me. This is going to assist me. And my life is improving starting right now. And it makes me live like the coffee bean, where we will change the water itself. Resistance is futile. Assistance, using affirmations, meditations, imaginations, visualizations, declarations, that's what's going to make change in your world. That is what's going to make healing in your mind and body. By taking hold of your spiritual practice, you shall surpass your threshold and make way for healing, happiness, peace, and grace. And I know each and every one of you has the ability and the backing to do that. I assure you, you work. Thank you so much. Namaste. Let us place our hands on our hearts and together declare our love offering blessing. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. Amen. Hallelujah. Thank you for your blessed love offerings. Yes, thank you so much. We are on social media. Here is where you can find us, other than Facebook or YouTube. And I will be doing a TikTok this morning right after our gathering. And Affirmative Incantations, want to know more about them? I have a book. Here's where you can get it. Alrighty, some credits will be rolling under me, giving thanks and recognizing the many places I find a video for our videos. And of course, I want to thank Steve Apperson, our producer director, who's behind the scenes there pushing buttons and making sure everything pops up correctly. And of course, our fabulous sacred reader today, the Reverend Dr. Ellen Contente. PJ and I will be fortunate enough to visit Ellen and Jose in North Carolina in August, and I'll be thrilled to hang out with them. What else? So those are the thank yous. And before we get to, I want to tell you what our final music is before we end the broadcast. We're going to play a version of Gonna Build a Mountain, which is a song by Anthony Newley and Leslie Brickus from Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, the musical. And this is a great rendition by the Gospel Queens. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to see it, hear it, and love it. Going to build a mountain. Until then, let us take a deep breath, close our eyes if it's comfortable for you. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this symposium, this gathering, this celebration, knowing that we have revealed the divinity that is within each and every one of us. There's this one mind. It's divine. It's divine intelligence. It's divine love. It's divine wisdom. It's divine healing right now within us working. And what I know and what I declare is that each of us is revealing this in the best way we know how. And that our highest self, our highest ideas, and our highest ideals are showing up right now. I am declaring this for each and every one of us. I am declaring this for me. I'm declaring this for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, all of you. All of you right now. I'm declaring healing of that which shrieks in the shadows. I'm declaring healing from anything that gets in our way of living our best life, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be being a millionaire. It doesn't have to be this, that, or another. You decide. I decide right here and now, declaring it, knowing it, and being it. We live and work it right here and right now. We work that revelation of the divine within each of us. We work it, and we be it, and we live a life of beauty and wisdom and happy moments and happy experiences and a succulent life, sweet and juicy and love-filled. I know that for each and every one of us. I know that we focus on that kind of life here and now. In deep appreciation and gratitude, I release this word, knowing each and every one of us to have a happy day, a glorious day, a gorgeous day. As together we say. And so it is. Amen, Omain, hallelujah, abracadabra, and Om Shanti Shanti, of course. Have a most fabulous week. We'll see you next Sunday. I appreciate you all. Call someone you love, someone you haven't talked to in a while. Don't let time take away your connection and communion and communication with those that you don't get to see or talk to very often. Reach out, show your love. Love you all. Have a blessed week. Namaste.
Gonna build a mountain from a little hill. Gonna build a mountain, I know I will. Gonna build a mountain. Gonna build it high. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. All I know I'm gonna try. Gonna build a mountain.